3 weeks on the road in Canada, one too many cases, one too few hands. Bass sounded great, but getting it all around nearly killed me. This little box could have changed everything.
Stand by everyone, have a good show.
Hey, James here from eBass Guitar. Earlier this year, I toured Canada with the Celine Experience tribute show, and for various reasons, it's safe to say getting the gear around didn't quite work as I expected. And it ended up being far more challenging than I ever anticipated. I had a large suitcase for clothes, a second suitcase for my pedal board. My bass was in an SKB bass safe hard shell case, which was incredible, with a mono sleeve gig bag inside. And I also had a heavy rucksack full of gear, laptops, iPads, video cameras, etc. Just one more case than I had hands, and it made touring exhausting. And it got me thinking, how could I slim everything down into something that only required one trip from the hotel room to the elevator? When I got back to the UK, I discovered the SansAmp Fly Rig, and it could have made all of the difference. I've now been gigging this back in the UK for a few weeks now. So let's start this review by actually hearing and getting a feel for what this unit sounds like on stage. This is straight from my in-ear monitor mix. Exactly what I'm hearing on stage, including the click track, with a bass coming from my Sadowski 5-string bass and this SansAmp Fly Rig DI pedal. For full transparency, this unit was sent to me free of charge for demo purposes by the nice guys at Tech21. But this is also important. They did ask for a review, but they've put zero pressure on me to say anything positive. So what you're going to see in this video is my honest opinion. So let's talk about the 40,000 foot view of this unit. At a high level, this is a bass guitar preamp pedal that combines everything I need as a working bass player. Compression, EQ, 2 independent channels, amp simulation, overdrive, chorus, and filter effects that let me emulate synth bass tones. It's really cleverly laid out. It's totally analog, so there are no screens, there's no programming, and it's all physical knobs. It's built for making changes on the fly, especially when you're moving from venue to venue, like when I was on tour in Canada. The reason I always love to use a preamp pedal is that the majority of gigs that I do now are on in-ear monitors or headphones. When you're on in-ears, every detail of your sound is right there, literally in your ears. It's brilliant when it's good, but it's unforgiving if something's off, and immensely frustrated if you can't tweak your sound as you go. A preamp like this gives me control over volume and EQ at a basic level, so I can adjust my sound on the fly without needing to rely on the sound engineer and communicate with him or her. Time and time again, I've found that the tiniest tweak can be the difference between an average experience on stage and a great one. So I will always choose to use a preamp pedal when I'm working on headphones. First off, the Fly Rig fits in my mono-tick accessory case, which is already a massive win. So I don't need to carry a separate pedal board now. Everything all in one case. It's powered by a standard 9-volt power supply, which works worldwide. There's no phantom power option and there's no battery option either, which is fine by me because I avoid batteries wherever possible. Connection-wise, from right to left, there's an input jack, send and return jacks for inserting other effects, and an output jack to your amplifier. And on the end here, an XLR for going straight into the PA and DIing. Looking across the unit from right to left again, there's a pad control to reduce the input level of active basses, There are 5 groups of color-coded LED lit knobs with 5 corresponding foot switches. Engage the foot switch and you'll see that knobs light up, which I find super cool and very clever. There's a compressor section with level and compression controls. There's 2 independent channels, each with their own volume and drive controls. I typically go for a clean and dirty sound. There's a channel switch which lets you switch between them like so. Then there's the SansAmp section, which provides the legendary analog amp modeling. This feature has become synonymous since the early 90s, way before digital modeling. The switch engaged is a 3-band EQ. There's a character knob, think scooped mid SVT style sounds, and a bite control here adds some extra top end. Then we hit the Octave Filter section, which is super clever and takes a little bit of learning. It gives you filter sounds, octave, and fuzz effects in one block. There are 3 main controls to this. Q adjusts the sharpness of the filter, range adjusts how your playing dynamics affect the sweep, and mix blends your dry and your dirty affected signal. Grab the manual, it really helps with this section of the unit. There's also an amp emulation switch here, which only affects the 1/4-inch output jack for some reason, not the XLR, and a ground lift switch to deal with hum or ground loop issues. So guys, we are halfway through this video and I've got a super quick favor to ask. If you're enjoying this review and crucially, you're not subscribed to the eBass Guitar YouTube channel, please can you hit the red subscribe button somewhere around this video. What this means is you'll be the first to know when a new video goes live, and we release a video every single week here on the eBass Guitar YouTube channel. So please hit that red subscribe button. It will help the channel grow and it will mean the absolute world to us. Thank you so much. So let's go through what this sounds like with my Sadowski bass. First of all, there's a compressor. This is uncompressed. Then I just stick in the compression like this. I use it very subtly. It just smooths things out without sucking the life out of the sound. But if you want to go for a super compressed sound, it's all there. Check this out. You can really hear that click on the edge of the sound if that's what you want. So let's hear the SansAmp now. Let's hear the tone without. Now let's kick in the preamp. And what you'll notice is these 3 lights light up. I'm on channel 1 at the moment with the drive at 0 and the level at about 1 o'clock. And this is my basic clean sound. I've added a little bit of bass and a little bit of mid to give my fundamental tone. And there is plenty of scope to tweak from there, which is essential for in-ear monitors, I find. Now this is where things get interesting. We have a second channel, which I've set up as a dirty channel. So kick it in and you'll see these red lights go on and you'll get the distorted sound. A bit of fuzz there if you need it. Now we have this character control here, which scoops the mid out like so. And we can add a little bit of bite in here to add some top end to the sound. And of course, we can go back to channel 1, 2 for a scooped mid clean sound with a ton of top on there. So there is so much flexibility within the SansAmp section of this unit. Let's look at the Octave Filter section now. Now I'm switching to my passive P bass with flat wows because I find the Octave Filter section responds better to this instrument. This is where the manual really helps. It takes a little bit of figuring out at first, but once you get it, there is so much in here. To show you this in action, I'm going to take 3 patches which are actually detailed here in the manual, which will just give you a great overview of what this can do. So sound number 1 is called Pinot and has the octaver in there. So the crucial thing to appreciate here is the octave button is in and the fuzz button is out. This is what it sounds like. Now, to be straight down the line, the tracking isn't as tight as, say, a dedicated octave pedal like the Boss OC2, and the whole sound feels a little bit distorted to me, which is a shame, but it still works at a pinch. Now I want to move on to sound number 2. This is called the Moog. This is where the Fly Rig, in my opinion, really comes alive, and you'll hear the octave, the filter, and the fuzz really working together to give you a proper synth bass style sound. Check it out. Now you can also add in the character control as well. Check this out. Really, really cool. Now let's move on to sound number 3. This is Muse, and this is super interesting because we're going to stack everything. The EQ, the compressor, the character switches, and the Octave Filter. And you get this huge sustaining style, distorted keyboard synth type tone. It's really, really interesting. Check it out. So as you can hear, there is a ton of flexibility in this Octave Filter section and some hugely creative sounds that you can utilize at the kick of a foot switch. So how do I use this live? My live rig is now super simple. The Fly Rig, a Shure wireless system, and a Bluetooth page turner. That's it. I use channel 1 with fingerstart for light compression. Here's a clip from a ballad from the Celine Experience show recently called Because You Loved Me, so you can hear my basic sound in action. Next up, here's a clip from set 2, a tune called I Drove All Night. There are 3 bars at the start of the second verse where I kick in the Octave Filter to mimic a synth effect I heard on the original record. It's a flash in the pan, blink and you really will miss it. But check it out. Then, halfway through the second set, I use the chorus section here to emulate the sound of a fretless bass on the legendary tune You're the Voice by John Farnham. Check out the chorus.
Shall we go for it?
1, 2, 3,
Here we go.
play.
Whilst I'm not extensively using every single feature on the unit, All the sounds are there if I need it, and they're really easy to get to. Some gigs are literally set and forget it. Others, like the one you've just heard, I'm tweaking all of the way through just to get things sitting just right. So to wrap up, this is a super powerful piece of kit. There's so much control in a tiny, super portable package. It fits really easily into my mono tick case, perfect for flying. The only downside I've found is the Octave. It's not as good as a standalone unit, but that's a small gripe when you consider how well the Octave Filter section handles synth-based tones and the amount of sounds that opens up. If SansAmp ever do a version 3, what I would personally love to see is that the character and bite controls only affect one channel. That way I could get a scooped tone for slap bass just by kicking in the other channel, which for me would make it even more flexible. So in summary, everything's analog. Everything's got a knob. It's clearly designed with the working bass player in mind. It would have made my life so much easier when I was touring in Canada. But right now, back in the UK, I'm loving using it for one-nighter shows here. It's not just a device for flying and crazy touring. It's become part of my regular setup. I'm a massive fan of what the Tech 21 Fly Rig offers. I definitely recommend it for bass players who want a small, simple, powerful analog pedal that sounds great, especially with in-ear monitors. So I encourage you to go and try one at your local music school and let me know what you think in the comments below. Cheers, I've been James from ebassguitar.com and I will catch you next time.